Hey everyone, so this is week 3 of my Achilles rupture rehab. And so week 3, I have had the cast removed and I have had a boot fitted. And the boot that I've had fitted is called a air cast. And I'll show you now. I've got some pictures as well. I'll also show you what my foot looked like before they put the boot on. So I was sitting at the fracture clinic without the boot for a while, just waiting for them to book me in, and then I got the boot fitted, and they showed me how it all works. So I've got some pictures there, and I've also got myself walking in the boot from a top view down, and the type of steps I'm able to take, as well as how the boot works and everything. It's pretty cool. You sort of feel like a RoboCop kind of thing. So I went to the doctor with the cast on, and they cut that off. They had a look to see how it was healing. They did the Thompson test again, which was me kneeling on the bed with my feet hanging off again. So my foot would be hanging off the bed. So the bed would be here. This is your shin, and that would be your calf. And they would squeeze, and the foot should bounce. But mine probably did that when they squeezed. It did hardly anything. So the attachment isn't very good from what they were looking at, from the external view, just by doing that test. But they still went ahead with the boot. So I went off to that room over there where they do plastering and boots, and they got one of these boots for me, and they put 3 wedges in it. Now, one of the wedges, I'll just get it. It looks like this, so you can get them for your normal shoes. It's one of those. It's a rubbery consistency. It's sticky. So they put 3 of those in, which was roughly that thick, probably about 2.5 centimeters high. Then the boot has a piece of rubber in it as well, and then another one of these underneath. So your foot is sitting sort of like you're wearing a high heel. And so that's in that plantar flexion pose to try and close the gap of the Achilles towards your calf to try and help that healing take place. So that was done. I got the boot, and the guy explained that you would want to put a sock on if you can, sort of like a rugby sock or a bigger sock, because it does go virtually up to your knee. And it's quite cool putting on the boot. It looks quite nice. At least my foot is out in the air, and I can see what it looks like, and wash it properly and that. So that's good. And once the boot was on, and I inflated the bags that are inside to support the ankle and that, the guy doing it said you need to now put all your weight on this boot to see if there's any pain in that. So I stood up, and I managed to stand on my leg with all my weight. And there was no pain, which was quite weird, because I couldn't do that in the cast, because obviously your foot's in a different angle and it's a different thing. But it was actually quite a weird feeling to stand on it and not have any pain. And then he said you still need to use your crutches. You can do weight bearing on that, but not full weight bearing. And he says you need to lead when you walk with your crutches. So you're doing your crutches, and then your foot that goes forward would have been my good foot with my other foot up in the air. Now you put that foot down and then follow with like a quick step, like that kind of thing. So it was a bit weird to get used to it. And then when I left, I sort of had it, it was a bit easier to walk with the crutches by the time I exited the hospital. So the boot's cool. You actually feel quite good, because you can move now a bit more, and you can actually put weight on it and stand without crutches. You can take a few steps as well, which is quite cool. So it does make you feel a bit better about yourself. You don't feel as down. You don't feel as useless, because with the cast you do feel pretty useless, that you can't do anything. So I can put some weight on it now and walk and everything. So that's awesome. And the next part of the video will show you what the boot looks like. There's different types of boots that you can get out there, but I thought I'd show you this, and I'll do a voiceover explaining how it all works and everything. So have a look at the boot, and I will see you guys next week for week 4. Oops. So here we have the inserts for the boots. You get 3 inserts. That's what they gave me, which was just under 3 or 2.5 centimeters of height, which sort of puts your foot in sort of like a high heel position. So those are the inserts. They're made of rubber. You can put them in your shoes as well. And there's the boot without the encasing that fits around your feet. And you can see the airbags that are there that pump up, which actually support the side of the ankle. there's straps, there's Velcro. Yeah, it's pretty high tech. So you can see on the side here, we've got the little release valve that I'm pressing now, which lets the air out. And there's the pump, which is sort of like a pump for blood when you take your blood pressure. And then that's the turny valve thing that switches between 1 and 2, which is the left and right bags that fill up with air. And then there's a lock so that you don't accidentally inflate or deflate them during the day. Yeah, I'm struggling to turn it with one hand because I'm filming with the other. But it works pretty well. I'm quite impressed with it. It's a pretty clever boot. It's very sturdy. It's strong. It doesn't bend. It looks like something that's been printed with a 3D printer, and yeah, it works. It works well. It really supports your ankle. So I've seen others out there which have sort of mechanisms that can lift the heel up and down on its own, so you don't actually have to take your foot out of them. But this one's got wedges. It works just as well. So, but that's the boot over there. The wedges, that's what it looks like underneath. So it does have grip. It is quite sticky, so you don't slip around. And then this is the insert that fits around your leg, which has a nice rubber floor on it, as you can see there at the bottom. And underneath that is another wedge, as you can see there at the back, that little blue piece. So you effectively have 4 wedges when I started off, and you can see it sort of fits in like that. The Velcro sticks to where it needs to stick. The bags that fill up with air are on the outside, and then you close the outer sock, if you want to call it that, over your leg. Another thing that comes with it is this front piece that sort of sits like a shin pad, and it protects the top of your foot as well. So anything that you might knock into or whatever, that protects you there, and the straps will then hold that in place as well. So I've put the insert back into the boot, as you can see here, and that's what it looks like. You can see the slant. There's a slight incline going to the back, so your foot's in that plantar flexion, like I mentioned in my previous videos, where you're sort of pointing your toe. And also with the way the bottom of the sole is, it also makes your toes sort of point down. Now I'm putting the wedges in, so you'll see those fit right at the back, and I'm putting 2 in here just to show you what it looks like. But you can take one out, put one in, but I'm following that schedule that I need to follow in order to do it. So here's my bad ankle, and that's how you put your foot into this boot. It's really comfortable. You've got to slide your heel right to the back and your calf and press it right down to the back, and then you just fold over the flaps and that Velcro's into place. You don't need to put it tight. It needs to be comfortable, so you don't restrict any blood flow and things like that. You don't want to be making it too tight that it becomes uncomfortable. And then you just push the insert that comes with it, like this little shin pad thing, and that fits into place with little Velcro pieces, as you can see, those little white tabs, and that sticks onto the front of that insert sock. And then you use the straps and you secure that in place. Now the straps don't need to be tight. It just needs to feel like it's secure. I do tighten mine quite tight if I'm going to be walking a bit further. So that's what the boot looks like on. I look like Robocop. It looks pretty cool. And then you basically put the air in, and you'll feel the bags filling up, and it sort of presses against the back of your ankle, sort of where the Achilles is, and it gives you that support. And then you change it to number 2, and then it does the other side of the boot. There's numbers that correlate on each side, as you can see there. There's number 2, and that bag will now fill up with air as you pump it, and it will compress either side of your ankle, giving you that support. You don't want to pump it up too much, again, with blood restrictions and things like that, and you don't want to squeeze the leg. But that's it. So once you've done that, it's fairly comfortable. It does get hot when it's on a hot day. And as I walk, you can see if I walk with a straight foot, I can't go over to take a big step with my left foot, because the boot restricts you from doing that kind of step. But if I walk sideways, as you can see here, I can take much bigger steps, and I'm much quicker at walking. So yeah, so that's the boot, and hopefully it helps you guys who are looking for boots and might experience a Achilles tear, or unfortunate enough to have one. Anyway, that's my update, and I'll see you guys next week. Cheers.